students, today's agenda is to check homework. We'll be learning about probability and odds, and you will be able to do 5.1b. Today, students will be able to find experimental probabilities and find odds. And we'll be comparing also answers of experimental probabilities to theoretical probabilities, which we learned in the previous lesson. Some vocabulary that we need to learn is experimental probability is a ratio of an event of the number of outcomes, also called successes, to the total number of trials. And what are trials? Trials is the number of times you perform the probability experiment, the number of times that you roll a die, for example. Odds, it's when we compare favorable and unfavorable outcomes. So what is the probability that you have of winning versus the probability of you losing, for example? And you, at the end of this video, you have the link to the entire unit, but in the previous lesson, we learned that there are different types of dice. This die it has 12 sides, and that's the one that this is talking about, okay? We worked with the 8-sided one in the previous lesson, so you might want to check that out. In the previous one, we learned theoretical probability. It's like, what are the possibilities or what are the possible outcomes for each one in here? If I roll a 12-sided die, theoretically, it means that you have the same chances of rolling any one of those spaces. So let's read this exercise. Number 1, you roll a 12-sided die, this one right here, 80 times. If the results are shown on the table, which number got the same as the theoretical probability? Well, theoretical probability, that means that I would divide 84, the number of trials, by the number of faces. Okay, and when we divide 84 by 12, we get 7. What that means is that theoretically, or theoretical probability means that if we roll it 84 times, the dice would fall on each one of those numbers 7 times. Now, this is what happened. And that's what it's asking. Which number got the same as the theoretical probability? Well, we say that the theoretical probability will be 7. So this number 1 has 8 for number 2, 9, 8, 5, 3, 6, 3, 10, 6, 7. The only number that got 7 times was number 11. So you will write number 11 got the same as the theoretical probability, which is 7. Okay, so that's what you will write in this case, and that's the only one that got 7 because even number 12 got 11. Okay, it was rolled 11 times. So what that means is that theoretical probability is what it will be likely to happen, and experimental is in reality, if you play with it, what is in reality what's happening. Okay, now let me share, the more trials that you do, the closer the experimental and the theoretical probability will be. Okay, now number 2 says, you can choose a game to win a teddy bear. The odds of winning in Guess the Cup are 1 to 2. The probability of winning by spinning a wheel is 1/4. Which game should you play? So one thing that we have to have in mind is that, as we read in the vocabulary, having like the odds is when you compare favorable, the possibilities of winning, to those of not winning. Okay, so that's something that we have in mind. Guess the Cup, if you know, it's the game where you have 3 little cups and then there is one ball. And then they hide the ball in one of the cups. Don't mind my drawings. Okay, they hide this in one of the cups only, and then you have to guess, they move the cups around, and then you have to guess under which cup is the ball. So guess the cup, you can win one out of how many? Well, in here for the denominator, you have to include both. You have to add the favorable and unfavorable outcomes, okay? So you have to do 1 plus 2 is 3. That's going to be in the denominator. You have to include both. So that's in fraction form. But then you might have the answer as a decimal. And to get that, you just have to divide 1 divided by 3. 1 divided by 3 is 0.333333333 forever, or you can just put a little line to say infinite, that number repeats infinitely. And then you're going to write the answer as a percent. So you move the decimal to the right 2 spaces, and it will be 33.33333. Okay, 33.33333. That means you just put the line in here, and that's in percent. Okay, so 33.3 forever percent. For spinning a wheel, I don't know, it might be, since it's fourth, 1/4, that means that you might say, oh, le apuesto, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Which number do you choose? And then you're going to choose, and then you spin the wheel, and then there's like a little arrow where, or sometimes inside, sometimes it's like outside. Okay, the winning arrow. So you spin the wheel, and then those numbers move. And it says that by spinning the wheel, you have 1/4 chances of winning. By dividing that, in decimal form, is going to be 0.25. We move it 2 spaces, and it's going to be 25%. Which game gives you better odds to win? Well, because this 1/3 is 33% and this is 25, this has better odds. So I will choose guess the cup, because it has better odds. Of winning. With this, we end our lesson. If you can please give us a thumbs up, subscribe around here. This is the link to the next lesson. This is the link to the entire unit. Now you're able to do 5.1b and have fun.